There's people who are very strongly supportive of Israel, yes. And you know, the Conservative Friends of Israel, the Labour Friends of Israel are all part of that.
Yes, there is a pro-Israeli lobby, and it's active in trying to define the debate in order to limit the options that British politicians can choose to options which would be acceptable to that lobby.
How Israel influences British politics. We reveal from the inside how the Israeli embassy penetrates different levels of British democracy.
To ask questions. How does the pro-Israel lobby in Britain work? Who runs it? And how does it get results? So how does the lobby work? Money plays a big part. Millions of pounds in donations from businessmen and others into the bank accounts of politicians and political parties.
To express my absolute solidarity for the people of Israel. Now is not a time for equivocation, and I'm unequivocal.
The United States stands with Israel.
Keir Starmer, the reason that dozens of Labour MPs are urging you to call for a ceasefire is because over 3,000 children are dead. Shadow ministers are considering resigning. The mayors of London and Manchester disagree with you. How on earth are you going to bring your party back from this level of division?
Well, we've all seen those images of children dead, and there's no unseeing those images. And I think it's really important to understand that. For anyone to see the suffering that we're seeing in Gaza and not feel compelled to try to do something about it. And that's why I said in my short speech that I understand why people are asking for a ceasefire. But equally, I do not think that a ceasefire now is the right way forward.
Trump said in an interview published on Monday that he believes former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu never had any desire to establish peace with the Palestinians during his 12-year term in power. Trump told Axios' Barak Ravid, using Netanyahu's nickname, quote, "I don't think Bibi ever wanted to make peace. I think he just tapped us along. Just tap, 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 you know?" Trump continued, quote, "My whole life is deals. I'm like one big deal. That's all I do. So I understand it. And after meeting with Bibi for 3 minutes, I stopped Bibi in the middle of a sentence. I said, Bibi, you don't want to make a deal, do you?" And he said, well, and the fact is, I don't think Bibi ever wanted to make a deal.
Privately taunted me to make a film about the pro-Israeli lobby. He said, "You don't have the guts. They're the biggest lobby in Westminster, and it's a big story." But when I went back to this courageous individual and say, "Hey, come on television and tell us about it," he ran a mile. One Tory front bencher was so paranoid that he insisted I didn't just turn off my mobile phone, but take out the battery in case we were being bugged.
to content creators and influencers to support Israel.
$5,000 is what I was just offered to pledge my support to Israel. And I think this is absolutely disgusting. You cannot buy my support of a genocide.
Several social media influencers have spoken out after being offered financial and social incentives by pro-Israeli lobbies to announce their support for Israel and to adjust their narrative in Israel's favor.
Tel Aviv now, as cash-strapped Israeli students have found a new way to relieve their financial plight. They can get easy money by simply posting positive tweets for the government and clicking the like button.
I received an essay basically saying that they're not willing to work with me anymore because I've publicly said that I support Palestine. I received another message where they said if I take the post down and publicly announce that I do not support, that they will pay me basically double the amount that we agreed on, and they would repost my video onto their feed, which in what actual right mind do you think that you can buy my morals?
Blame for Labour's anti-Semitism problem, Mr. Corbyn.
Sorry?
We to blame for Labour's anti-Semitism problem, Mr. Corbyn.
If they're black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and you should never speak about it.
Why can't we talk about them without getting kicked off of YouTube? But I kinda wanna know why. Now there's all these conspiracy theories, and the more they talk, I think maybe they're right. But I can't even listen to the convo. I can't even have the conversation without getting canceled by the left and the right. Why can't we talk about them without getting kicked off of YouTube? Now really, I'm not trying to be rude, but why can't we talk about this?
Filled the main floor and steps of Grand Central Terminal Friday, waving Palestinian flags, wearing black t-shirts, and shouting a number of chants, including "Let Gaza Live." Let Gaza live! The protest, organized by the group Jewish Voice for Peace, brought together Jewish New Yorkers and supporters of Palestine.
A wave of babies, children's families, the killing of innocent civilians. None of it is okay, but it's incredibly important to acknowledge that what's happening to Palestinians has been happening for decades, and it must end now.
What reaction are you expecting when the pro-Israeli lobby notes your conversation in this film?
Oh, they'll say, oh, there goes Goldberg, the anti-Zionist, self-hating Jew again. You know, I'm quite sure.
Might think, but Lord Calms, a leading CFI donor who owns Dixon's and was treasurer of the Conservative Party, was outraged and threatened to withdraw funding to the party.
Sir, William Hague's usual good sense has deserted him. Think again, William, for whom do you speak? Your comments are not merely unhelpful, They are downright dangerous.
No further donations were received by William Hague from CFI board members.
Terribly dangerous thing if the British press were made to feel that they couldn't criticise Israel because they're going to be held up as anti-Semite. I think it's a very disreputable argument.
I've been having a look through the Comment is Free Watch website. Here's what it's got to say about an article by Tony Lerman. It says that Lerman is making despicable, libelous and completely unsubstantiated allegations about Jews. It says that's anti-Semitic and he's a nasty anti-Semite. I asked Tony Lerman what he feels about Hawkeye's comments.
It's upsetting, but one gets over it. I think there are people who are deliberately manipulating the use of the term anti-Semitism because they do see that it's useful in defending Israel.